Welcome, lovelies. I have been collecting these Lolita Lempicka perfumes for a little while now, and I have them all now. So I wanted to talk about this collection because it's one of those situations where I'm like, just make the thing that you want to watch yourself, right? Because I've never managed to find a video on YouTube of someone talking about this entire range. So the only one I'm missing is like the body oil one, which I just don't think is possible to get anymore. And it does look like it's got different notes, but I don't know how different it's going to be. But it's a different formulation, so who knows? But this is, apart from that, this is the full range of actual perfumes, like classic perfumes from the Elle range. So I was kind of interested in investigating these a little bit more because I'll try and insert what I said about this from my other Lolita Lempicka video, because I had a sample of Elle and I did not think much of it. I said it smelt like a toilet cleaner or something like that, I think. I can't remember offhand without rewatching it, but I think I might have said it smelled like a urinal cake. I don't like this perfume at all. I think it's foul. This is Elle by Lolita Lempicka. Very cool bottles. That's one of the reasons I wanted to try this, to be honest. I just thought it was a super cool bottle. This, though, no, I can't be doing with this. I think this smells like a urinal cake with some coconut. I can smell that coconut. I really can get the coconut, and I can see that some people say this smells beachy and summery, and all of those things. Personally, urinal cake. Like that's what I get from this in the main. I do not think it's good. I was kind of looking at pictures of it a while back and thinking to myself, the liquid in this doesn't look anything, or in any of the bottles that anyone has, doesn't look anything like the liquid that was in the little tester I had. I think that tester had gone off. I think it was too thick, it was too dark, and it smelt very strange, and I think it had gone off. So I decided to get a little 40 ml of this, which I think was about £19. Now, these are technically discontinued, but you can still get these quite easily on the grey market, and I think the most expensive one, oddly enough, was this 40 ml Elle L'Aime. This is the Eau de Toilette. So I think that was maybe just under £30. So they're still like super affordable for Lolita Lempicka, and just for generally lovely perfumes. But anyway, so I wanted to I wanted to give this another chance. I wanted to smell it again because I like Lolita Lempicka perfumes, and I didn't really want to think that everything that I was smelling was going to be like, I don't know, based on a perfume that's just completely gone off. So I also really wanted to compare these bottles because I do think that this is quite a confusing range. So what I'm going to do first off, I've got them kind of like this because in my brain this is kind of how they go. But there's two eau de parfums and there's two eau de toilettes, and as you can see, I mean, it's a bit annoying because if you say it out loud, it doesn't sound any different. But you've got Elle L'Aime, which is the name Elle, and then L'Aime. And then you have the letter L, L'Aime. So the letter L are the eau de toilettes, and the L, the name, is the eau de parfums. So let's get these out and then we can have a proper look at them. So I'm going to go one by one. I'll show you what these look like. So this is the original Elle L'Aime. And this is the one that I was like, yeah, smells like a urinal cake, or whatever it is I said. Now, this is the bottle. It is absolutely beautiful, as you can see. I might actually do these one by one. These bottles are just so beautiful. They're stunning. I mean, Lolita Lempicka are so good at bottles, aren't they, really? Like, these are really fabulous. Wait till you see the Alafi. But there are also some of them quite similar, so I thought it would be really good to be able to look at them together and compare them. Now then, ooh, I'm going to spray this out again to remind myself. This is Lolita Lempicka's version of a kind of beach perfume. So if you think of things like beach walk, that kind of thing, Maybe like Eau de Soleil Blanc, those kind of perfumes. This is the Lolita Lempicka take on that. Now, I still feel the same about the opening of this and about elements of it. And realistically, that's partly because I just don't normally love beachy perfumes, but I do tend to love the House of Lolita Lempicka. So if I was ever going to like a beachy perfume, it was probably going to be something that they made. So the notes in the original Elle, Eau de Parfum are top notes of lime, bergamot, and neroli, middle notes of coconut, ylang ylang, and jasmine, base notes vanilla, myrrh, and sandalwood. You get a lot of the citruses, you definitely get an instant hit of coconut, you get the jasmine and neroli. And the jasmine and the neroli, that's what makes me think that this, when I first spray it, definitely has a little bit of a cleaning product smell to it. And when you mix it with that citrus, because it's such a classic kind of bathroom cleaner smell. Do you know what I mean? It's like classic Sif kind of scent. Or Jif if you're as old as me. But the magic of this one is definitely in the dry down. There is something about this having that vanilla myrrh sandalwood base that takes this from being a citrusy, beachy, very slightly buttery floral perfume, like a coconutty, buttery floral, into smelling just a little bit more warm, a little bit less singy, a little bit more skin-like, and almost just that just hint of something that's slightly warm spicy. It's very pretty. This one on my skin, I actually quite like this when it dries down. I have to say, for an eau de parfum, this is not massively long lasting on me. But again, maybe this one just needs to age up a little bit because there is a decent amount of sweetness here. But yeah, it's quite classic. It's nothing that you would smell and think, I've never smelled anything like that before. The top vote for what this smells most like is Bronze Goddess Eau Fraiche. Eau Fraiche Skin Scent, apparently, from 2014, which is apparently aromatic, vanilla, coconut, white floral, citrus, woody. Oh, and amber in that one. I'm really glad this isn't amber. I don't really love amber. I much prefer like a benzoin or something like that, or or a myrrh in this case, in the base of these kind of perfumes, because amber I find a bit overwhelming sometimes. But yeah, it's in that beach walk from Maison Margiela kind of feel, because when you first spray this, it may seem a little bit heavy, but actually it's not that heavy once you've got it on and once it dries down. I just think these bottles are so cool. I love Lolita Lempicka. So just make sure that's on properly. So that's the original Elle L'Aime. And I think it's worth comparing this to the Eau de Toilette version because they have very similar bottles and I want to look at them together. So, Elle L'Aime. All right, are we ready to compare the bottles? I mean, they are annoyingly similar, aren't they? I'm going to look at these over here. I was thinking maybe they had a slightly different shade of gold, but not really. The Eau de Parfum just has a darker liquid. That is the only real noticeable difference here. This may be... Is this a silver cap on the inside? No. I think maybe the lid looks a little bit more see-through, so maybe... I don't know. But they're really very similar, aren't they? Very similar. Lid is slightly more transparent, I would say. So it's possible that this glass is slightly coloured, but not really. Very similar, very difficult to tell the difference between. And that's why you really have to look out if you want to buy these, because sometimes it will say that it's Elle Aim, but it will actually be this one, because the original Elle Aim, the Eau de Parfum, is much easier to find than the Eau de Toilette version. And this one's normally more affordable. So you just have to be careful and you have to make sure that you check Eau de Toilette and check whether it's in the letter L or the name L. But anyway, the smell of this one, let's get on with it. Now, in a funny way, although this is the one that I think I won't want to keep in my collection, I also think for other people this might be the safest bet. The reason being that I really like how it smells at first. I think it opens with a beautiful citrusy floral, again, summer beachy smell. You've still got that jasmine. It's noticeable, but you don't have the ylang in this one. So this one is citruses, red currant in the top, middle notes of jasmine and wild rose, base notes of white musk, sandalwood and woodsy notes. And yeah, I'm almost getting a little bit of that wild rose. I'm getting the citrus, I'm getting the red currant, and maybe a bit of that sandalwood. It doesn't have coconut in it, but it still somehow manages, I think probably because of the specific jasmine they've used here, to have a little bit of that buttery, beachy floral smell. And I really like it. But then when it dries down, particularly on my skin, when this dries down, I get a lot of the woody notes that aren't sandalwood and a lot of that jasmine. And I don't love it. Now, I was really thinking when it dries down, it reminds me of something. It's very specific because it does say citruses here, and I'd say this is like orange. Um, I think there's probably lemon and maybe even lime, but I'm getting a kind of, I'd almost say peachy feel from this, weirdly. And I was trying to work out what I wasn't digging about it, and it's the same. It reminds me of a couple of other perfumes that I've had that are interestingly both honey perfumes. And when this dries down, there is a sweetness here that isn't explained by anything in the list at all, that does almost have a honeyed quality to it. It doesn't smell like vanilla. It doesn't really smell particularly tonkery, but there is definitely a kind of a thin sweetness here. Yeah. So the dry down of this reminds me a little bit of DKNY Nectar Love. Um, the Donna Karan perfume that's like, it's nectarine and mandarin and solar notes. Again, it's jasmine, there's cedar, and then there's like a beeswaxy honey feel in there as well. But what comes through on my skin in DKNY Nectar is a ton of synthetic cedar and a really woody bitter jasmine. With that kind of almost peachy mandarin-y smell and a bit of grapefruit. And I kind of get that from Elle, Aim, the Eau de Toilette. So, and the other one is Petite Attitude B from Avon, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to smell a bit like Nectar Love from DKNY. It might, I mean, might be inspired by that. Also has jasmine and precious woods. It says it's got honey, it's got pomelo, mandarin orange. And yeah, that's kind of the vibe. And unfortunately, on my skin, it just smells like, yeah, it's like a really bitter, woody jasmine with a little hint of something almost peachy sweet and a touch of honey or something. That's what it smells like on me and what it smells like to me when it dries down. And I was sad because I loved how this opened. It's kind of the opposite. This one, when I first spray it, I'm like, oh, it's not my kind of thing, but it dries down to smell delicious. This one, when it opens, I think it smells delicious, but it dries down to be something I don't want to wear. So I'm not keen. I don't love the EDT, but like I said, I think a lot of people would. I think this is very much part of me just being a little bit of a weirdo in that respect. But yeah, so I'm going to just move these out of the way so we can talk about the big boys and try not to mix them up because they do look rather similar. Oh, yes, I can see. Hang on. Just going to show you before we move on. You can see the difference in colour in the plastic. The plastic on the Eau de Parfum has a slightly kind of yellowy tone, and the plastic on the EDT has a slightly clear, kind of almost bluey tone. So yeah, that might be helpful. Yes, the glass, I think the glass actually is a different colour on them. Yeah. Oh yes, much clearer. Yellow, sort of a yellowy glass on the EDP, and then a clear glass on the EDT. There you go. So we did find a little way to tell them apart, which is good. So this next baby, Elle, Alafi, the bottle on this Eau de Parfum from Lolita and Lempicka is an absolute work of art. It's so beautiful. I can't even tell you. Well, you're about to see it, but oh my goodness, it's so cool. So let's put the box over here. Look at this golden amber liquided beauty. It is a thing of absolute beauty. Look at that. It's magical, completely golden, and then the letters are see-through. So if you look at the original, we have clear glass with gold lettering. So it's a clear bottle. You can see the liquid jiggling about, and then the actual lettering is embossed in gold. And this one, the lettering is completely see-through, and you can see the perfume within, but the outside of the bottle is golden, and it is, I mean, talk about splendid. It's so fancy. All right, let's spray this one out. A much darker juice. This is the darkest juice of all of them. This is kind of a bit more similar to the color of the one that I tested out. Oof. So this is strong. The original Elle, I don't think massively has a. It doesn't have necessarily the feel of an eau de parfum. It feels. I mean, if it was an eau de toilette, it would be a good eau de toilette, but it is a bit more like that. I feel like the eau de parfum of Elle and the eau de toilette of Elle both feel about the same strength once you've been wearing them for a little bit, and they both last for about the same amount of time. This is a beast. This is very strong. It's extremely rich and heady, and it's got a different feel to it, even though it is still almost that buttery, beachy feel. Ooh, okay. So the notes in Elle à la Folie are mandarin orange and bergamot in the top, mid notes of ylang ylang and jasmine, base notes of myrrh, amber, and sandalwood. Remember what I said about amber earlier? It's fine. It's been balanced out here, but it is why it is so rich. So this is less of the jasmine. It doesn't have the coconut, although that jasmine still has that slightly buttery, beachy smell. But this is much stronger in the ylang ylang to me. And I find this ylang to be just that little bit banana-y, which is super pretty, but it's not sickly sweet because it has the mandarin and bergamot to balance it out. But the more it dries down, the more I'm like, well, I'm sure that there's some vanilla in this perfume. I'm sure that there's vanilla in the original, and I'm sure that there's vanilla in this one, even if it's not listed. But the myrrh is quite strong here. The sandalwood's quite strong. Those base notes really warm up on your skin and come out a bit more. But I never really lose that banana-y ylang ylang. But this, it kind of, the notes to a certain extent kind of suggest that it would be a fantastic beachy perfume. But for me, this is definitely a much cooler weather perfume because this is strong, this is thick, and again, you can kind of tell from the color of this liquid. Let me just try and get in close here. I mean, look at this ambery liquid. It is just, you can see it jiggling around. It's really fantastic, this bottle. And it's a weird one because it does definitely smell a little bit like the original in a way. It does smell a bit like that. But a thicker, richer, headier, and more ylang ylang forward version of it without so much of the coconut. It's quite intoxicating, this one. So I'm really looking forward to being able to like try this out for like a full day. But it's quite warm in the UK when I'm recording this, and this perfume is too strong for me to do that. This lasts for, I mean, all day. Like when I've been testing these, this is the one that really hangs around. It's really impressive. but it could definitely be challenging. If you like really rich, ambery, myrrh, kind of slightly buttery florals, then you might enjoy this. But I think it's probably the riskiest blind buy out of all of these. I don't know whether I'd say it was my favorite out of all of these, but if it's not, it's at least my second favorite because there's just something about that ylang that I am really, really loving. But it's definitely, I think, out of all of these, the most challenging to wear. I'm excited too, though. I really genuinely am quite excited to, like I said, the original EDT is the one that I'm not planning to actually wear because that has that dry down that I don't enjoy. But that's the only reason that would be challenging to me. I think that even if you love this might be slightly challenging because it's very strong and thick smelling. Okay, so then we can look at Elle Edition d'été. So this is like the summer version of Elle. And it's, I don't know why, it's kind of funny in my brain that it is partly, I imagine, because I've got the big bottles of these, but I do feel like this feels like the summer version of this one, and the EDP and the EDT, they feel like the regular and then summer version of those. But let's have a look. This is another fantastic bottle. Oh my goodness. Let's put that box there so we can again do a proper comparison. I'm going to spray this out. Look at this one. Gorgeous. So this is a transparent bottle. Again, you've got the gold leaf on the top, but then you've got the actual bottle is frosted. The embossed letters are transparent. Bring this up. Gorgeous. See? Lovely. It's just so pretty. Okay. Let's put these back. This one is very interesting to me because when I first sprayed this one out, I was like, oh no, I don't like this one. But then the more it dried down, the more I was like, oh no, I think this might be my favourite actually. I mean, changeable, but. So Elle with the letter L, Edition d'été, Eau de Toilette, has notes of lemon leaf and mandarin in the top, middle notes of ylang ylang and jasmine, and then base notes of myrrh, amber, and sandalwood. So I think you can probably see why, in a way, this one feels more like the EDT version of this one. I think the ylang ylang's a bit heavy. You've got that amber in here, along with the myrrh and the sandalwood. You don't have that coconut. You don't have quite so much of the jasmine. The lemon leaf is really noticeable, quite green at first, and this is very, very citrusy when you first spray it. And again, it has a little hint of that, a little hint of the kind of bathroom cleaner lemony fresh smell from that lemon leaf. But the more it dries down, the more you get like this gentle, slightly flowery feel. And then you get the sandalwood. I mean, to be honest, I don't get huge amounts of amber in this one. I think it just makes the base again slightly warm, and the myrrh as well. You get this slight sweetness coming through the more it dries down and the more the citrus calms down. And it's really, really pretty. I think this one's lovely. I think this is a beautiful summer perfume. It's such a good one. I think it's going to be amazing in hot weather. So I really like how this dries down on my skin. I'm really excited to, again, like be giving this like a full wear now that it's getting warmer. So having a look at some things that have been compared to it. So this has been compared to the EDP version of Eros Pour Femme from Versace. Now, I don't get on with the House of Versace. There's something about their perfumes. There's some kind of modern aroma chemical, or just generally, there's some kind of aroma chemical that's in a lot of their perfumes that I just can't wear. The only one I have is Crystal Noir. That's literally the only one I have. But I can see, because I have smelt the Eros perfumes, I can see that this is in that same kind of neck of the wood. But Eros has ambroxan in it, so it's that one was never really going to be my jam. But if you like citrusy perfumes like that, then I think you might really enjoy this. It's very bright, it's very fresh, it gets sweeter. It kind of it gets more of the mandarin orange as it dries down. I think that's what it is. It starts off with so much of that lemon leaf and it smells like there's actual lemon. And then it dries down more and you get more of that mandarin. And it's a bit sweeter, it's not quite as acidic or sharp. And then when you mix that with the kind of warm base and the kind of gentle florals, because this is not like hugely flowery, this one. This is definitely more citrusy than it is floral. But when you've just got that little kind of hint of those flowers in the mid, it's so pretty. So yeah, I really, really like this one. I think it's beautiful. These are the ones that when I first got them, I was like, well, definitely I'm keeping these. And then I kind of decided that actually the dry down of the original is so pretty that I will keep that one as well. So the EDT is the only one that I didn't really entirely get on with. Now let's put all these together and look at them as a group. So there you have it. That's the collection of 4 perfumes from the Elle collection from Lolita Lempicka. Sadly discontinued, but really easy to find. So you have, let's have a look. We've got the original Elle, the Eau de Parfum, which is spelt ELLE, so like the girl's name. Then the Eau de Toilette, which is Elle with just the letter L. Then you have the Elle again, the girl's name, Folie. And then you have Elle, just the letter L again. That's the EDT, and that is Edition d'été. So yeah, this is super fun. I'm really glad I got to get my greedy little mitts on these. As I said, this is the only one that I'm not loving, but these are just beautiful perfumes. They're really really nice. They're then I don't know that they're anything like massively original or exciting, maybe except for the Alafi, which is an interesting perfume. I didn't really know what to compare it to, and I didn't recognize any of the things that it had been compared to on Fragrantica. But it's pretty magical, that one. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I couldn't find anyone talking about all 4 of these next to each other. So just personally, this kind of thing I find really helpful. So I just figured I might as well create it myself and just put it out there in case there's anyone in the world as crazy as me who's trying to collect all the Lolita Lempickas. So thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you like my channel. I'll link up to my original Lolita Lempicka, the full video, at the end of this one. I will see you in another video soon. Bye, guys.